Welcome to Taking Care of Business on News Talk 1180 for the best in Saturday talk radio at 1 o'clock, and on 1230 KGEO at 10 o'clock Saturday, and for the best in Wednesday talk radio on 1410 KERI, the Christian station. We are now on 1000 KKIM in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and also 3 times a week on the internet nationwide through knookmedia.com. Plus, you can catch any of our shows for the last, I can't believe this, Clay, 4 years on the internet at the Clay and Marty Show. Your host is Clay Koerner, and I'm Marty Pay. Our producer is Greg Held. Clay, we had a great show last week with presidential candidate, I should say former presidential candidate and Senator Rick Santorum.
You may have been right the first time. With 2016 coming up. I just wish that we could, the off-air comments and discussion, I wish we could have it on air.
Yeah, sometimes those are the better
There's
parts.
There's a lot more you learn and know than what you can tell people.
And I would vote for Santorum in a heartbeat. But not only vote for him, I think I would work for him. I mean, he's that kind of candidate. Our second guest was John LeBoutier, former congressman. He's got a show called Political Insiders on Fox News on Sunday. I like John a lot. He's one of our best
John
guests.
is sharp, and by the way, he was our first guest, and
we had to. That's right.
We switched him around. Yeah, just trying to help you out here, Marty.
Thank you, Clay. Thank you. And by the way, I like your suit. It's really sharp.
Rented for 2 days.
The 2-day rental. One more of the tent.
I do that about once a month.
Well, we've got another incredible show lined up today. Before we introduce our guest, I need to make a comment about something that's been in the news lately, because I've had a lot of people ask me about it. It's actually been 2 years ago this month. Clay and I were involved with trying to get some signatures to get Sergeant Bergdahl out of Afghanistan. In fact, we raised 30,000 signatures in Southern California. There were 300,000 or 400,000 signatures. It was 400,000, wasn't it, Clay?
I think close to that.
Yeah, that was raised. And it was kind of odd because for some reason there was no legs to 400,000 signatures, and we couldn't figure out why. But so we were involved in this a couple years ago. So let me give you my take on it. This is just my take. I think Clay feels about the same, but I don't want to speak for Clay. Should we have gotten him out? Yes, definitely. No question about it. Should we have given the store away? 5 Taliban kingpins? Definitely not. No way. Now, saying that, definitely we should get him out because he's an American soldier. He needs to come out. Is he subject to what military justice is going to be there for what he may or may not have done? You bet. That's a separate issue from the fact that we should go in there and get him out. We should not leave an American soldier behind. Now, it's funny because one of our guests, Cathy Abernathy, was there. I think she was there when I mentioned this in one of my classes 2 weeks ago. I said, okay, and I showed President Obama with the VA scandal and everything he was doing, and I said, you watch, in the next couple of weeks, he will come up with something. He's going to have something fantastic that he's going to do that's going to take the heat off of the VA scandal. And that's exactly what President Obama just did. This deal's been on the table for a couple years, and all of a sudden now we have to do it because of the sergeant's health? Come on. If it smells like a duck and it walks like a duck, the chances are it's a duck. And we're being snowed by the President of the United States. He did this for political expediency.
I heard it was another video just this morning. So that's interesting.
Another video meaning?
A video that they made showing how sick he was, and Obama had to get him out right away.
Right, yeah.
Let's get the sergeant, the Marine sergeant, out of Mexico.
Yes.
Let's get the Christian lady that they're holding in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah. Let's get the Christian pastor out of Iran that's about to be sentenced to death.
Right.
So, anyways, that's our take on it. Well, we have 2 very, very special guests that we've luckily had on after every election. The political consultants, Mark and Cathy Abernathy. Mark, Cathy, welcome to Taking Care of Business.
Well,
hey, Marty.
thank you guys.
Yeah, glad to be here.
It's always a pleasure having you guys here.
See, and I thought you were going to introduce Gene Tackett for a second. We got to have Gene on to get the other side of the story.
We better have me here too, though.
Yeah, well, I think both of you.
Same time.
Yeah, and actually, I saw the 2 of you on the news the other
we were
night.
on 3 times.
Was it 3 times?
Morning, noon, and night. Yeah.
Wow.
I had to keep him honest.
Yeah. Does Gene get old hat after about the 2nd or 3rd time?
No, he comes up with new things that stun me, and sometimes I just let him go ahead. I want the audience to hear where the Democratic Party is today sometimes.
I can kind of relate to what you're going through because I have the same problem with Clay, but the problem is trying to keep him awake for 42 minutes and 20 seconds. That's usually the problem.
I think that'd be a great show.
Cathy has a great story, scary story about Gene Takin on Wednesday morning, 7 o'clock when they were on the air.
Oh, tell us.
Well, he what happened, and this is what was about this religious zealot, Pedro Rios. Gene Takin called him a religious zealot on the air.
Zealot?
And I said, what do you mean by zealot? And this was right after he said how heavily Hispanic the district is. And he said, well, that won't fit the district. And so I said, you mean the Hispanics aren't religious? And he said, no, zealot. And I don't know, you recall probably better what I was saying then, but it really was...
He said, well, you said, well, do you mean the Hispanics don't believe in God?
Right, that's what I said, yeah.
So, did you ask him to define religious zealot?
Well, actually, later he defined it as if you believe in God, if you believe there's a God, he only has one vote.
He only has one vote? Oh, I like that. Okay. So a zealot is somebody who believes in God.
With one vote.
Yes.
With one vote. Well,
With
our
one
country's
vote.
changed a little bit over the last 250
I'm
years.
looking at 4 votes right here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think God's got a lot more than any of us
5,
can even
actually.
dream of.
Yeah, that's
But
right,
anyway,
5 including Greg.
They're all controlled by God.
Yeah.
But even the folks, and this was on the air, the TV announcers, we can't mix religion and politics. I said, yes, you can. It's very important that we not let someone say that if you have a religious belief, you can't talk politics. That's exactly what's crippled the conservative movement, because churches started believing that because they get threatened so much. But we're telling them, no. That's nowhere, is it, that you can't mix them. You just can't have government telling you what religion to have.
Yeah.
Well,
and
what is the difference between what is great about America? Start with that. What is great about America? And you can ask immigrants, recent immigrants, because they can tell you better than an American can tell you. But it's freedom. Mm-hmm. It's freedom that is different than any other freedom that any other nation has ever had. That's why people flock to come here, because of freedom. You ask any immigrant, and there's opportunity that goes with it, of course, because of the free market that goes with that. Yeah. So why does America have freedom that is different and superior to any other nation there's ever been? It is wrapped up in that Declaration of Independence that says we hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. That is a biblical viewpoint. That is God's viewpoint, that all men are equal. Man's viewpoint is nothing like that. Yeah, and history proves that. Well, the great Roman Empire, for example, 90% of the people were slaves. Mm-hmm. And that's the way that history has been of man. We don't, left on our own, we're selfish and prideful, and we don't think that others are equal. And we'll put them down if we can, if left on our own. But the American way, and Jefferson wrote most of the words in here, who they claim, the liberals like to claim, no, he wasn't religious. Of course he was, but he wrote, all men are created equal. That is a self-evident truth, and it's from the Bible. And that we are endowed by our Creator. We are given by God certain unalienable rights. Now, what does the word unalienable mean? Do you know, Marty?
Unalienable. Well, that would mean they're unquestioned. I mean, we just have them. They're ours.
Unquestionable would be pretty good, but it is, they can't be taken away. Mm-hmm. They can't be touched. They can't be watered down. They can't be ruined in any way. In fact, they are sacred in a way. They are given by God, and build a moat around it and don't let man touch them. And this is what is different about America, and why we are free, because our founders put our freedom and recognized God as the giver of our rights. And if we ever want to say, well, no, we would rather not recognize that. We'd rather recognize that man gave us our rights. Well, then man takes it away.
Exactly. Yeah, because man can take it away.
Right. So when they say get religion out or get God out, they're saying get our freedom out.
Yeah, exactly. I think I wrote a book on this subject about 20 some odd years ago. And when you look at the Founding Fathers, their belief was that the role of the church was to hold the state to moral accountability. Not be a part of the state, but just hold it to moral accountability.
Exactly.
And we've ceased to do that in the last 50 years.
Exactly.
And one of the things about Jefferson that a lot of people don't know is that one of his first acts as president was to give money to give Bibles to the Indians, because he wanted the Indians to learn our moral concepts so they could incorporate into the system. So that doesn't sound like somebody who wants a separation of church and
Right,
state.
and what did this country do a couple hundred years later is get the Bible out of those schools.
Exactly.
And what's happened to our schools and to our children? You know, there is no moral. You can't even put 10 commandments. You can't put "thou shalt not kill" on the wall.
Yeah,
I mean,
crazy.
And so what's going on in our schools? Just the opposite.
I like this conversation. We'll be back in a moment on Take Care of Business on Koerner Radio News Talk 1180.